I will try to give you just a little bit of my understanding of aging and also what you have been listening in the last 3 days about aging. That what is when we talk about aging interventions. And when we talk about aging, it's of course linked with the question of lifespan. We definitely know about two kinds of lifespan. That maximum lifespan when one person or one individual of a cohort can live how long. In human beings under 22 so far, but maybe it might be crossed. But then average lifespan where at least 50% of the population survives, which is important for social decision making, retirement ages and all that. But then there is a third kind of lifespan which we often don't talk in the textbooks yet, because it's a relatively new term. In the last few years we have started using it, and that is how long our lifespan should be. So from evolution's point of view, and that's called essential lifespan. Essential lifespan is much shorter than average and maximum in modern times especially. So human essential lifespan is not more than 45 years. So that is where everything is the purpose of life from evolution's point of view. So aging, the way biogerontologists would like to understand aging is that if we live longer than essential lifespan, that is when aging starts. So I would not like to say aging starts from birth. That is growth, development, maturation. Aging starts if you live longer than your essential lifespan as a species, which is about 40 to 45 years. So if we want to discuss about aging mechanisms, that is the period we talk about. And then what have we understood so far? That aging occurs at all levels. There is nothing in the body which does not age, and there is nothing in the body biologically which becomes better. Everything becomes worse at biological aging pathway, but it happens very differently, and you have heard so many talks how it happens in the brain or liver. So no two individuals age in the same way, but within the individual, no two molecules age in the same way. There are many factors, of course, which can affect the lifespan, right from lifestyle to some genetic contribution. So the question in biogerontology, are we programmed to die? You have heard some things like quasi-programs and other, but in reality, program basically will mean, are there any genes which kill you? There are no genes. There are no gerontogenes which evolution has made for the purpose of killing. The genes are there for the purpose of giving life, for the essential lifespan at least. Those are the longevity assurance genes. After that, if genes have any role, we call them also virtual gerontogenes, which can be something similar to quasi-program, which Cloney was using the term. So there are no real genes, but these are virtual genes. And there are evolutionary theories, let's jump over, saving the time. But so if there are no genes which kill us, but we still die and we still age, so where is the answer can be found? The answer is between the struggle for survival. How do we live and how do we die? Look at it. The mechanisms which are important for survival, these are exactly the mechanisms which are causing damage, whether oxygen, whether nutrition, whether basic biochemistry. And this is matched with parallel systems of defense and repair. If we don't have them, we die. But these defense and repair and living systems create a kind of what we say, homeodynamic space. We keep using the bad term homeostasis because that is written in the textbooks. In biology, there is nothing static. If you can learn one thing from this meeting or carry home message from my kind of talk is, use the word homeodynamics. It's not my word, so I'm not promoting just my word. Because these are dynamic interactions. We are never static. The homeodynamic space represents a kind of a buffering capacity, our survival ability, which we are born with when we are young, of course, which grows up, becomes better. But that, well, never mind. If you have gone, it helps me. Never mind. And there are three major components of homeodynamic space. How do we live? Stress response is the most important, perhaps. And then the constant remodeling and damage prevention. These are the three characteristics of our survival. Of course, hundreds of genes are involved in that. So, an aging is basically the shrinkage of this space, our ability to tolerate stress, to adapt, to constantly remodel. That is what is causing or is the phenotype or the appearance of aging. So aging is the shrinkage of the homeodynamic space. There is no enemy there. It is just the ability of survival which is becoming lesser and lesser. And why? It is becoming, well, when we have this reduced homeodynamics, chances for the diseases are increased, the red zone is increased, and you get all the diseases. But the common cause of all diseases which eventually kill us is aging. So how can we do the intervention? Do we need to do something anti, or do we need to maintain something? So it can be either treatment. If we take the approach of treatment, like aging is a disease has first requirement that in theory there can be a disease-free state. If I have cancer, at least in theory I can become cancer-free. Aging as a disease cannot be approached with that idea. What will be the age-free state? The second is the definition of any disease is a minority issue. A disease happens to 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%, or even more people, but never 100%. That is not a disease. When something happens to 100% of the individuals, it is not generally called disease. So aging cannot be considered as a disease from that point of view also. So anti-aging word to me does not make much sense. And if we want to go to the intervention, if it's the reduced ability to tolerate stress, then we need to maintain that ability. That how do we go about it? Of course, there can be piecemeal remedies. We can fix what is going wrong. And you will hear more about that in stem cells and other approaches, that whatever is going wrong, you try to fix it. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't work, because it has to do everything in relation to the rest of the body. So we can have either new organs or change your skin, or these are called piecemeal, fixing the local problem, not the global problem. The next part is one way which I would like to just use last 2-3 minutes just to save time completely. That hormesis, you have heard about that word in this meeting for a while. The science of hormesis is now officially called hormetics. Since 2 months ago we proposed that term. Hormesis is that when you have a mild stress given to the system, the same thing which makes our homeodynamics work, you can strengthen it. Exercise is the paradigm. Everybody knows the good effects of exercise, but the biochemistry of exercise is actually very, very bad. Everything you do during exercise is terrible from the cell's point of view, but everything happens good after exercise. Because of this U-shaped curve, the dose response, that in a mild range or in a narrow range, all kinds of challenges or stresses or damages can be potentially good. And that is one area which my lab for the last now 15 years has been one of the pioneers in applying it to the aging research. So the idea of hormesis in aging is that if you give a stress of choice, in the case of human beings, that's the important word, that if you can choose your stress, then you will get benefits. Generally, stress is bad. We all talk in society, stress kills you, stress gives you diseases. It is very, very true. But if you can manage stress in the hormetic dose, where it's a low level and it strengthens your homeodynamics, you get benefits. Otherwise, stress is a killer. And there is a lot of research going on in what kind of stresses to use. We call any condition which causes hormesis by causing damage as a hormetin. Like exercise is a physical hormetin, heat is a physical hormetin, radiation is a physical hormetin. Then there is the other category of nutritional hormetins, that things in the food. Most of the time, these things like onion, garlic, spices, resveratrol, ginseng, whatever we use, they don't have much nutritional value, but they have hormetic value. Curcumin, you have heard some lectures on curcumin. Curcumin is good for the cells because it is bad for it's good for the body because it's bad for the cell. All polyphenols, flavonoids, they induce a kind of a stress response, and then a lot of good things happen. That is the basic principle, and lots of people, industry, are searching for nutritional hormetins. Even Mental hormetins, that is the psychological aspects, the brain's activity. People have studied in India and Hungary about effects of meditation even. Meditation is hormetin. It actually causes low-level stress because you can measure stress proteins and things going at that time. But following that up, hormetin will induce hormesis. So that is a very latest research area in aging interventions where you are not trying to do anything anti-aging, but you are trying to maintain the functional ability, maintaining health by strengthening the homeodynamics. And that is what we would like to then look into, the maintaining the health span or extending health span. Next, please. In our own labs, again, I will just jump through that. We have used heat shock and nutritional hormetins as examples to induce, for example, a little bit of stress, and it improves wound healing, it improves angiogenesis, it increases lifespan. So there is a whole range of, there are more than 50 or 60 papers published on that. So the final idea is that hormesis has a great potential for promoting healthy aging, maintenance of health, prevention of diseases, nothing much on reversion, but on maintaining homeodynamics by increasing the hormetic zone. So maintaining health and extending health span is the driving principle for a biogerontologist. Anti-aging is not. That we are not, well, at least I cannot see what is anti-aging part. I would like to extend health span, which can give some extension of lifespan also, but knowing what we are trying to maintain, that's even more difficult. We still do not have definition or parameters of health. If I ask you, give me 5 biomarkers or something of health, we don't have. We need to find ways to define health, what we are trying to maintain. It's very easy to target against a disease that has been the dominant viewpoint for the last 50 years or more, because pharmaceutical industry is based on that. But treatment of disease is a very different approach, which is very, very important for the patient, but maintaining health is the real aging intervention approach. We can talk about that at some other stage. I have no time to spend on my own lecture, but I would like to introduce our next speaker. We will not take any questions at this time because she has to catch the plane, and we are right on time, actually now 5 minutes ahead. So Alexandra Stolzing will talk on aging of the human adipose-derived stem cells. But we will take questions in between if we save some time, okay? This is not working, Alexandra. So okay. You will have to either...